All right, welcome. We're glad to have you guys here tonight. This is for the 24-25 school year. We always put these on our website, so we want to make sure that when people are watching it, they know they're watching the correct one, because we do have some changes each year. So we would just want to take a minute and welcome you guys to Crossroads. We're glad you're here. First of all, I want you to raise your hand if this fits you. How many of you are here today, and this is your very first year homeschooling? Raise your hand. Ooh, all right. Here, let me take this out. All right. All right. Everybody that's not new to homeschooling, stand up. Not new to homeschooling, stand up. So this is not your first rodeo, okay? Now I'm going to ask you just some questions. How many of you have been homeschooling for 2 years or less? If so, raise your hand and then have a seat. 2 years or less, okay? And then sit down. All right, 5 years or less. Raise your hands high in the air. And then everybody look around and then have a seat. 10 years or less. 10 years? Okay. Okay, and then have a seat. Anybody up there. All right, 11 years? 12? I know who's going to win this standoff. 13? 14? 15? There you go. I knew. All right. Well, you guys, congratulations. You guys have been doing a great thing for a long time. So all you new people, you look around, you see we've got a lot of people who have been homeschooling for a lot of years represented here. So we're excited to be here tonight. The purpose of today's meeting is to acquaint all of you with the policies and the procedures that are unique to Crossroads, because every homeschool group has its own flavor, its own policies, its own requirements, and so we just want everybody to be on the same page as we go forward into this year. Some of you here tonight are new and some of you are not, but you're going to meet some people tonight and tomorrow, and you'll meet a lot of people as the year goes on. So we're going to take a minute and go to the next page here in our handbook. And we're going to look at this. So you've all got your blue handbook. So take a look at that. On page 2, you've got a list of the staff. Okay, you know what? There it is. I have mine. I have a small version of what you guys have. Okay. So if you look at that, I'm going to just introduce you to some people. And again, some of those people are here tonight and some of them are not. Some of you will meet tomorrow. And then some you may not meet until the year starts for various reasons. So starting out, I'm Jenny Bartz, and I'm the administrator of Crossroads Christian School. This is my going into the 4th and 5th year of doing that, but I've been here forever, which some of you can attest to. Homeschooled all 4 of our kids, all their years here. My husband teaches at Briarwood, and we've been members of here at the church at Community Presbyterian Church, which Crossroads is a ministry of, for many, many years, our whole married life. So I've been here, and then I want to introduce you to Lori. Lori in the back. Stand up, Lori. You can't get away with that. Everybody needs to know Lori because she wears 2 hats. She is our registrar, and she also handles all our accountings and everything. So thank you, Lori. And then Karen Cunningham down on the sound board. Karen is the administrative office assistant. She keeps us straight in the office. So anytime you call, she'll be the one generally that's answering the phone. So we thank them for all that they do. Tonight, Sally Albus is our activities coordinator. She's not able to be here with us tonight. In fact, you can be in prayer for her. She's had an emergency happening with one of her animals, and she's pretty in a distraught situation right now, so be in prayer for her. But some of her team members are here. So Caitlin Rich, if you would stand up. Caitlin is our preschool coordinator, and we are excited. A lot of people, we have maybe 8 families, which I'm going to get you the list of, that have joined us this year who just are doing the preschool. So they have kids who are K4, K5, early 6 years old, doing kindergarten. So and she works really hard to provide great field trips for that age group. Thank you, Caitlin. Also there you will see we have Mary Beth Brown. She's not able to be with us tonight, but she is our parties and teen coordinator. Courtney Wren, I don't know if we can excuse her or not, but she had a baby on Friday, so, she's not here. But she'll be at the back to school bash, I'll guarantee you. She'll have that baby on the picnic table. She's just, we'll all get to love on it. So it's a little girl, so we're really excited for Courtney. Courtney is in charge of our school-wide events, like our back to school bash and our Valentine's box competition, so that's what she handles. And then Christy Rosno is in charge of our field trips. So that's the activities team. And then Key Club, you'll hear more about this tomorrow, but Sally Albus is also our Key Club coordinator. And Builders Club is Miss Gallops, Jessica Gallops. I just drew a blank on that. Jessica Guyton. Jessica Guyton is our Builders Club coordinator this year. And then Friday co-ops, we have Lindsay tonight wearing 2 hats. So Lindsay and her teams, there's 2 other people, Patrice Bauman and Julie Turner, who are on the committee, and you guys are going to meet them tomorrow. They will have a table at the meeting, so come early so you can talk to them. And Lindsay is also here representing as a board member. So now Lindsay and Jonathan, stand up. They're both here tonight, and so we're so glad to have 2 of our board members with us tonight. The board, my husband and I are on the board, Jonathan and Lindsay are on the board, Brandon and Melody Ellis, and Phil and Debbie Rich are on the board as well. So some people who are not listed in the handbook, but you probably need to know who they are. Trinity Whitfield and I are the yearbook advisors, so you'll hear us. And then we have a fine arts team. This is a group of dedicated parents who love art, music, and they want to give our students as many opportunities to be involved at the school with choirs, plays, art opportunities. And we have a whole host of people who work on that. But our team lead is Karen Cunningham. So she is going to be leading us in that this year. And we're real excited about what we have going on. We are facilitators. So everybody I just introduced you to and talked about, we are all facilitators. We don't do everything for you. We are here to help. All staff and activity leaders, they do their jobs, but first and foremost, they're homeschooling their kids at home. Some of us are older and our kids have already aged out, and we're still around. But for the most part, all of these activities coordinators, they are homeschooling their own kids as well. So if you try to contact them, they're going to get back to you as quick as they can. But during the day, they're schooling, so it's going to be until they can get to their computer and to answer you. So give some grace and be patient, but they will get back to you pretty quickly. Let's see. Our office hours are Tuesday and Thursday from 9 to 3. That's when we are actually in the office. Lori, Karen, and I are there on those days. But we are always answering emails at really odd times. So feel free to email the office. And we have, as you will see in our newsletters and everywhere, we have a few different emails. So if you have just an office question, just send it to the office. If you have something about records, send it to the records email. And so if it's accounting, if it's something to do with finances, send it to Lori at the accounting email. So send it to where you think it best goes. We can see all of them and we can switch it around if we need to, but that's just helpful. All right, next slide. School directory. All right, the information that we have for the registry is, or from your registration, is what we use for the directory. We use this to put together for our CRCS families. When you signed up, you had the opportunity to write yes or no of wanting your information shared in a directory, and we will respect that, okay? We'll have your information just for the office use, but we will put a directory together, and that will be available to you as a member of Crossroads for a short period of time. We'll send out a link first towards probably September, into September. We'll be able to put that together and get that to you. So download it when it comes out if you want to have it, because a lot of times you may meet someone and you want to connect with them. So it's an important way for you to be able to have that information. Don't use it obviously for any, for any other reason than just contacting people. Let's see. So that's another really super important reason to, when you fill out the registrations, that you're really careful of how you're filling it out. Try not to use all capitals because I have to go back in and change everything. Try not to use all lowercase because I have to go back in and change everything. Pay attention to I had somebody that left off letters of their name and I'm like, who is that? And I was able to figure it out, but just, take the time because that is the information that we use and that's very helpful. Just a brief history about Crossroads. We began back in 1989-90, the school year, with 8 families. Okay? Now our enrollment is close to 260 families with somewhere around 550 plus students in our school. And it's kind of funny because you would never know that because we're never here all at the same time. Friday, you might get close to thinking that we're that large because Friday's our crazy day here. But in general, you wouldn't see that. The leadership of Community Presbyterian Church way back then asked that this be a Christian homeschool group. So that's why we require for you to sign a statement of doctrinal beliefs and to verify that you are indeed a member of a Christian church. Since that statement of beliefs are Christian and not exclusively Presbyterian, we do indeed have a variety of denominations represented within our school. However, since we all do believe in the same God and His Son, Jesus Christ, as our Savior and Lord, we have a common bond of fellowship. We are united in Christ and in the gospel, and we celebrate our unity. And so we're excited to come together and be a school that represents Christ. On slides 4 through 9, we're going to look at some of the parental requirements that we have. The handbooks that you have are online. Okay? This is our first year we're not printing. This is actually last year's. And we only printed enough last year for the new people. But this year, we're strictly digital. It is online. So all our other families, if they'd like to have because some people just like to have a hard copy of things. And we're just telling them that you can go online, there's a PDF, and you can download it just like we did. So we printed one for you guys. So hold on to this. The intent is that this will not change from year to year. Used to be we changed it every year, which got rather laborious. And it's basically the same information with a new theme. But we plan to just use the same one. So hold on to this because these are the parental requirements that we have. We're going to take a look at those. Okay. The list of parental requirements are on page 5 and 6 of your handbook, are what you agreed to do as a faculty member of Crossroads. We ask that you review the requirements each year to refresh your memory. Okay? When you re-register, you're going to have to reread the doctrinal beliefs and sign off, but you're not going to have to reread the parental requirements. And a lot of times, how many of you'll sign up for something and it's got all this information and you go, yep, check, read that, when you really didn't read it all, okay? This is one of those things where we really do want you to know what's in the information. So we're gonna kind of go over that. Registration assumes that you have read and agree with these requirements. Please understand that the education of your children is your responsibility. All CRCS does is provide you a legal means for you to be able to do this. However, we can only do our job if you do your job. So let's work together. We're going to go over those in the handbook. So the first one is on page 5 and 6 is the fact that you have 170 days, which is what is required for the school year. And you're going to keep daily attendance. We've talked about at different times, if you've been to our Homeschool 101, we talked about lesson plans, and when you're turning in grades, you're going to keep track. So make sure you have a calendar where you're keeping track of all your days because you have to have 170 days. And this is where we get into trouble. Karen made me say that I would go over this. I may say it a little bit more later, but we're real serious about those 170 days. And I cannot tell you, she had over 20 people turn in, and when you added up each quarters, because you turn in each quarter grades, what I always did was 40, 45, 40, 45 is what I aimed for, and that adds up to 170. But what we'll do is we'll have two extremes. We have people who will put 30 and 42. Well, and then by the end, it does not total 170. That does not make a legal year. Okay? You have to have 170 days. So make sure that you're representing that. On the flip side, we have people who will turn in, we did 280 days of school. You're killing your kids. Don't do that, okay? Remember, the days that you're counting are the days that you're actually doing schoolwork. So you're not counting your weekends and you're not counting your vacation days. So just be careful when you're putting those. These are days that you're working on task. If you go on a vacation, somebody recently did a 10-day vacation up to the Northeast, and they hit city after city and so much educational things along the way. And I hope she's counting those in her school for the year because they did a lot of really good stuff. So make sure you're keeping those. Karen, did I cover everything? Okay, so we'll see the right numbers coming in. And if you have any questions, please ask us, because the frustrating thing is when Karen at the very end of the year, because you're not totaling those numbers until the very end, and you come up and you don't have the number of days, well, we can't we have to deal with that. We have to look at it and talk and say what was going on. And usually somebody just added the days wrong and didn't think about the fact that they weren't going to add up. So just watch for that. Okay, the second one, parents must keep daily records of subject matter covered. First-year homeschool parents with CRCS must turn in copies of the daily lesson plans with their quarterly evaluation. Your lesson plans are the legal document that education has occurred. This is a printable form. Now, those are really important. So when you turn those in, I'll talk about those a little bit more in detail, but you're going to want to make sure that you turn those in. And if you're new, make copies of your forms. Okay, the next one, 7-8. Let's see. Okay. So your job, parents must submit grades and attend quarterly, parents must submit grades and attendance quarterly online at crossroadschristian.us. The forms are listed under the records tab, and it's pretty easy to do. We're going to go in detail in a minute. And at least one parent must attend each quarterly faculty meeting. And then back one more, yeah. And then the last one, each family must pay $40 on their monthly tuition, June through May. The tuition is due on the 15th of each month. And I'm gonna go over that a little bit. The faculty meetings. We have October. Do we already have them up there? Hopefully I got them all changed. Correct me if I have anything wrong. October, January, and March are in Moody and Pell City. This first faculty meeting tomorrow is at Bethel because we don't all fit in this sanctuary. So for us all to be together, we have to be somewhere else. So that's why we're at Bethel tomorrow. And when you arrive at Bethel tomorrow, you're going to drive around to the back or just park and you're going to walk around to the back because they had some flood damage. And so they're still trying to get things corrected so they can get back in their sanctuary. So we're going to be in the gym and the back area, so come around that. But that's what we're doing tomorrow. The rest of them, we have 2 meetings. The first night, which is a Monday, would be here. And the second night, Tuesday, would be Eden West Side. You get to pick the night or the location that's the easiest for you to come to or the best for your schedule, but they are mandatory. So we ask that right now, not that right this very moment, but you go ahead and put those on your calendar so that you make a priority. One parent, that's all that needs to come, but make sure that you make that a priority and come to one of those meetings. Now, we recognize that there are times when there are unforeseen things that come up. We get that. Somebody's home with COVID right now. Somebody's having a lumbar issue and one parent was one direction and one's another and there's no way they could get here. So we get that. We understand. So just call us. Let us know. Send us an email if that's the situation. Make your best effort, but plan on trying to be at all of them. Let's see. Parents, you are the faculty member. When you came in tonight, you got a little card, and it's your faculty ID card. You are the faculty members, and the children are the students. So that's why you got the ID card, which they're kind of cool. Have them in your wallet, and believe it or not, they'll get you discounts, okay? Barnes & Noble, some museums, because that's your student ID card for your student. We have those. If you say, I really want one for my spouse, just let us know. We can give you another one. All right, tuition. Slide 9. The tuition commitment is $40 per month for 12 months of year, June through May. As new families, you got a 2-month break this year. And that's because we started interviewing people back in May. And so we didn't want people to start paying May. And then the people who came and interviewed in August, you got 2 months different. So your first year, you don't have to worry about June and July. But we start in August, we go to May. But then when you start your second year, you do year-round. So you will continue paying tuition next year starting in June. So make sure that you kind of understand that. You should receive an email the last day of each month. Okay? If you were already interviewed, you should have gotten that at the last day of July. If you interviewed after that, we may have not have gotten you in the computer, and so you should be in the computer by now. But you should receive an email from QuickBooks. And so what you'll do is you'll take that invoice and you can pay from that. There is a toggle on that invoice where you can change. It's always going to say $40. If you owe $80, it's still going to say $40. So you can take it and you can change what amount. So let's say that you wanted to pay for 3 months. You can go ahead and change that and pay the amount that you want to pay. So just know that that's the way that works. We do not, unfortunately, accept credit cards or debit card payments. And the tuition payments are due by the 15th of each month. Please be on time with that. If you go to your bank, what we encourage people to do is go to your bank and have it set up to where a check is cut and comes to us, and you don't even have to think about it. If you do that, make sure that they do that by the 15th of the month, because that's the deadline for paying each month. So make sure you put that in your books and you have that as a plan. Please be on time with that. And it's also understood for you to participate in field trips and co-op and things like that. It's understood that your tuition payments are kept up to date. Now, on the flip side of that, if you have an emergency, if you have something that is going on that you're having a financial crisis, you call the office and talk to one of us and let us know what's going on. The worst thing that can happen is you just stop paying, and we get down the road and we're wondering what's going on, and we're starting to try to contact you, and you may or may not respond, and because maybe you don't want to say anything. Just call us, let us know what's going on. Let's work through things. So that's super important. I will say on that number 6 here, failure to pay 2 consecutive months tuition will result in the family being placed on probation. Failure to pay 3 consecutive months tuition will result in could result in disqualification from Crossroads. And there where it says, in the event of a financial crisis, please contact us, okay? We have people who will leave and they still owe. They didn't pay their commitment. And so we can't release records if that's the case. So just please make sure you stay on top of things. All right, let's see. All right, just to hit the highlights of the next things. All new students must have a transcript from their former school. So if you're coming from, we've probably already dealt with you as you interviewed. Nowadays, a lot of people are coming from schools that don't require you to turn in grades. If that's the case, it's your responsibility for your students to create a transcript, and you can easily do that by going online, Googling free printable transcript template, elementary or high school, and make sure that you create those transcripts for your students. If you were coming from a school that either you didn't have to turn in those grades, or you were doing the private school law. So make sure that you get those grades to us ASAP, because we'll start looking for them. High schoolers are supposed to be there for the interview, but make sure, because we need to know where your students are. Let's see. Membership in HSLDA, Homeschool Legal Defense Association. During your interview, we talked about that. That's a great organization that's fighting for the rights of homeschoolers across the nation. It's an incredible website, credible information. And so we encourage membership in that, and there's a discount that'll get a code that gets you a discount. And then talks about if your family gets in a situation where the teaching parent, you're both working full-time outside the home, you need to contact us and let us know. Kids should not be home by themselves, okay? That's just a blanket statement. Somebody needs to be an older, I know we have a couple situations where there's an older child at home who's graduated and is older and can be the responsible adult, or maybe grandma comes over for the weekend, or the kids go to another family for a short period of time. You need to talk to us about that. We need to know those kinds of situations and what's going on. Okay, and then number 10 on there, the parent-teacher must subscribe to a statement of doctrinal beliefs, which is in the last page of your booklet, have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, and be a member in good standing of an evangelical church. Enrollment in Crossroads requires that your pastor verify yearly that you are an active member in your church. So when you re-register next year, yes, you have to do the pastor's questionnaire again. It's just a process that is required for membership with our school. Number 11, parents are responsible to instruct their children in the school subjects, but are free to choose the curriculum best suited for their children's needs. Enrollment in a virtual public school is not homeschooling. A family cannot be enrolled in both a virtual public school and Crossroads with one student, okay? We do have a situation where maybe one of their kids is in a public school system, but they have the other child registered with us. That's not what we're talking about, okay? So it's just, you can't be, we're going to do the curriculum. This is our curriculum. We're going to be enrolled in a virtual school, but we're going to be a member at Crossroads for that student as well. You can't do that. It's a whole thing with federal dollars, and church schools can't receive federal dollars, and it's all mixed up together. So let's see. The big thing, when you joined, you did a church school enrollment form. Remember the paper that goes to the Board of Education. If you move and you move out of the district that you originally signed up for, we need to make sure we get another church school enrollment form. We get that updated and filled out. So if that happens, make sure you contact us and let us know. Let's see. And then next year, let's say this year's already over and you're ready to register for next year. We ask that you start doing that in May, and yes, you do have to register. Then you would register as a returning family instead of a new family like you did this year. We have copies of the bylaws that are available if you need it. And then that last one, in compliance with Community Presbyterian Church's child protection policy, all faculty that has direct involvement. So basically, if you're volunteering or helping or leading groups of students other than your own, you must have a background check with us, okay? We use one called Know My Hire, and it's a $10 fee. So anything, if you're a volunteer parent who says, I'm gonna be involved in the teen choir and I'll be a helper, yep, you gotta do that. So you'll have to do that through the office. If you're gonna be in co-op, that will normally and naturally be done through co-op. The thing that has been added this year, the church's insurance is requiring us for all of our volunteers, so that's whether you're a Sunday school teacher or you're a co-op volunteer, okay? All of the people who volunteer with any kids here at the ministries or the school have to have a background check, which we've been doing, but they have added on that they have to read and sign our child protection policy, and they have to have a child protection training, okay? And we have that. It is a video, but you don't watch the video. We have the video in a PDF form, and so you'll need to read the policy and read the training and sign that you've done that, and that will be it. So that's something that's kind of new this year. The background check's $10. So, and natural, as you're involved in things, you'll be asked to do those things. Okay, let's see. Slide 10, record keeping. All right, and page 7 of your handbook is daily lesson plan forms. If this is your first year of homeschooling, we ask that you turn in copies of your lesson plans. Lesson plans are so important. They are your legal documentation that education is taking place. If anyone ever came and said, can you show that you were homeschooling? Yes, here is my lesson plans, okay? Those are vital. They should be done and kept up to date. And they generally are done about 2 weeks ahead of time, and I always say in pencil because there's going to be a doctor's appointment or something and math won't get done and you have to shift things. So lesson plans, though, are so important. Make sure you have those. If you're brand new to homeschooling, you will need to turn in copies of those to us at the quarterly meetings. If it's not your first time, you still have to keep lesson plans, but you don't have to turn in the copies. If you use a curriculum that provides a full lesson plan, like a DVD plan, or a curriculum that has a full lesson plan, you do not need to make copies of all of that. You can, on your grades when you turn them in, there'll be a comment box, and you can put in the comment box, we're using Abeka full curriculum lesson plans from Abeka. Okay, you can do that. But if you're picking and choosing, then you need to turn those in. Like, for example, we would do Saxon math, but then we would do a different, English. And so we would just write down lesson 45 in math, lesson 43 in English. And it was on the lesson plans. Pretty simple to do. If you have any questions about that, feel free. I do ask that if you turn in those copies, I don't want your original, your copies, because you need the originals. So make copies of those. Try to be paper conscious. We did have somebody turn in it on like paper this big, 11 by 17. We don't have room for that. So you do turn those in to us. It's also, your lesson plans are a good place to keep up with your attendance. Another thing I love lesson plans for is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you have more than one children, then you can go, what did I do in 6th grade with little Johnny? Oh, look, I can look at my lesson plans and see exactly what I did. So it's very helpful. Same thing when you're turning your grades in the comments box, you can write some notes that will help you to look back. When you have your next student in that grade, you can see what you did, and it'll help you with that. So again, speaking of attendance, make sure that you are keeping those days. But a question always comes up, can homeschool students have absentees? Can they be absent? The answer is yes. Crossroads requires 170 days. And we say that if there is a reason that that student misses from school, and it's a legitimate reason, there's a sickness, there's a death in the family, there's a funeral that you have to go to, something that's legitimate, they would have missed school at a public school as well, then count them as absent. Most likely you're going to double up and they're going to do those lessons anyway because that's what you're homeschooling for. You don't skip 2 lessons ahead because they missed. You just keep going with what you were doing. But as long as your absences don't reach more than 10 days per semester, you should be okay. If you have a situation where a child goes in the hospital or there's some chronic illness or there's something going on that your child has multiple absences, contact us at the office so we can talk about that and figure out what to do. And we've had that situation before, so just talk to us. Okay, next slide, quarterly evaluation. There's a sample copy on page 21 of your handbook, but before you go look back at the school calendar on slide 8. You see that we have given dates for the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. Then our faculty meetings follow each of these 3 quarters. Therefore, each faculty meeting is your deadline to submit online your quarterly evaluations for the previous quarter. So when we have our meeting in October, okay, October 21 and 22, your grades are due, okay? And because of the dates, if you're going over a week, a week or 2, that's not what we're talking about. It's when it's 3 months down the road and we don't have quarter 1, we have a problem, okay? If there should be no reason that quarter 1 is not turned in at that point. But unfortunately, we'll have about 60% of the people who won't have turned them in. So I'm begging you, stay on top, because it's a lot easier to stay on top of things than to catch up from things. So make sure that you're doing that. So make sure you have those turned in. You may choose to use a different calendar for your homeschool. That's okay. We have people who do year-round schooling, but generally you're going to be ahead of us rather than behind. Our official start date is going to be August 12th because we're having the meeting on the 10th and the following Monday is the 12th. That's what we put on for legal things, all right? But does that mean that you have to start school then? No. We have people who started school the 1st of July because they said it is too hot to be outside, so I would rather be inside in the air conditioning. We'll be outside in October, and we'll take days off then. So you're free to do that. Again, remember, 170 days throughout the year, you get to choose where you want to put your breaks. So let's see. When you sit down to do your grades, your quarterly evaluations, you want to be ready. So these are the things that you want to make sure that you have when you sit down. You want your name. When it says your name, it means the adults should be filling this out. So it means your name, you. And then it's going to have student name. Help us out, put your student's full name. Because nothing's worse than, when you fill out that church school enrollment form, it's supposed to be your full name. But invariably, we have people, you're nervous, you're figuring out what's going on, and you put 2 names, you just have first and last name. And then graduation time comes. And we're trying to do an official transcript and trying to figure out what your student's full name is. And we have had folders that we cannot find a middle name, but we know we have one. We have had one student who didn't have a middle name, but most kids do have more than 2 names. So make sure, put those names on there. The grade that he or she is in, 1st grade, 4th grade, 12th, etc., and your email. Be careful when you write your email. If you make a mistake on your email, that's the email they're going to send the PDF of the grades you just turned into, so we have a problem. So make sure that you're careful with that. The quarter that you're reporting, so if you're doing quarter 1, you're going to choose the toggle for quarter 1. And then the number of days present and absent in the grading period. Those are the ones where I said you're going to be really, really super careful. We have people who accidentally say, we were there for 3 days and absent for 42. Okay, whoa, hold on, flip those around a little bit. So be careful what you're writing down. For each subject, you must choose either the subject or select did not cover this quarter. So when you're doing that, just make sure you're looking for the click down. For each, always choose one. In K through 6th, you're going to have a letter grade, A, B, C, D, F. No Fs, okay? Nobody's going to get an F, right? Because you're going to redo the material until they understand it. So no Fs, right? However, when your student reaches 7th through 12th grades, we need number grades. It is your responsibility to give your student grades and to turn them in on time. They must be an accurate reflection of the student's work. This is what is used to create their transcript. If you do not turn in grades, we have nothing to use to create a transcript. So you do your job so we can do ours. Lori says, amen. Yeah, amen. That is because she has spent all summer working on transcripts. That is the transcript that will go with them to college. So we try to make that look as normal as possible from what you have turned into us. It always happens that, senior year comes and we're looking at what they've had according to what you've given to us. And somebody goes, wait, we did Alabama history in 10th grade, but we look at 10th grade and it's nowhere represented because the parent forgot to put it in there. So we have to make sure that everything, so sit down with everything that you have. Be careful so that quarter one and quarter two should look just alike with new grades, okay? Other than, the dates and everything. Quarter 3 and quarter 4, most of the time, should look exactly the same unless you're doing a half of a credit for something in high school. So make sure there's continuity. Very often we'll have somebody put English, American Lit, English, writing for the 4 quarters. We're like, what's going on? It's all English, okay? So be careful when you're doing that. In the area titled Evaluations and Comments, you can put any comments that you want to make. Progress report, you can write there if it's a dual enrollment course. We need that information. Any lessons or concepts that you did during that time, maybe field trips or activities that you've done that went along with that subject. This could, as I mentioned, provide a history for you so when you're doing another child in that grade, you've got a good representation of what happened. Now, once you submit those grades, you're going to receive an email. Make sure you open that email. There'll be a PDF. You need to print that PDF or at least save it digitally to your computer and make sure you're backing up the computer because you're going to do that for quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4. Okay? Then, as we go to the next slide, we have what's called the end of the year summary report. These are 2 different reports. A lot of times people think, okay, why do I have to do all those? Super important. Quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4 is the whole year. But now you need to take that information and do something with it, right? Especially in high school. For the elementary, you're taking quarter 1, 2, 3, 4, averaging it together. You're giving them a final grade, and then you are promoting them to the next grade. Guess what happens if you don't fill out an end of the year report? That child does not get promoted to the next grade. It's not magic. That's a paper that you need to fill out for it to happen. Same thing for the high school. With the high school grades, which is 7th through 12th, 7th and 8th graders, you're not getting credits. 7th and 8th grade, that looks really strange when you have many credits on those. But let's say in 8th grade, you have a student who's doing Algebra 1, or they're doing physical science, and it's a high school science. Yes, you may put that down and give them credit, okay? But generally, when you do these quarters for 7th through 12th, you're going to have at that end of the year form, it's going to make you take quarter 1 and quarter 2 and average them for semester 1, quarter 3, quarter 4, average them for semester 2, and then you're going to assign the credits. You are the one who assigns the credit for your student, and then you promote them to the next grade. That's why that end of the year form is so important. Okay, so make sure, and I'll trust me, this is a lot of information, and we know that. So, number 1, there'll be recording on the website, so you can go back and fast forward to this section, or ask us. If you're not sure, just call and talk to Karen or Lori or myself, and we'll help you with anything that you need to do. And again, when you submit that, and these are all found on our website under the Records tab, quarterly evaluations, end of the year, secondary, end of the year, elementary. When you submit, you're going to get an email again, same thing. Make sure you print it, save that, because that's your record. That's the one thing that I still have. My youngest child is 25, okay? And that is the one thing I still have is all their grade reports. So that's something you want to hold on to, at least for a while. Mine may be too long. Okay. The next one, transcript request. If you need a transcript, is that it? Yeah, there you go. If you need a transcript, what you're going to do is go to our website. Under records, there's something called transcript request, and it'll ask you for detailed information. So especially if you have a high schooler, that's generally when you're going to be asking for a transcript. They're going to be doing a dual enrollment, or they're ready to go college, or they're maybe an honors club. It's going to be some reason you will need a transcript. Transcripts are not created until they are needed. And then we pull the grades that you've turned in, the end of the year forms. We don't print quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. We print the end of the year form that you've assigned them credit, and we create transcripts. Lori creates the transcripts at that point. Don't you like the way I use that we? Yeah, okay. Lori creates the transcripts. I help, but I haven't in a while, so. But this time of year, over the last month, this is the time we say, give us 2 weeks. If you do a transcript request, Lori has 15 stacked on her desk from students who are now seniors, seniors who have left and we finally have everything and they need to go somewhere, kids who are doing dual enrollment in the fall. I know that there's probably 20 kids who are doing dual enrollment that have come across our desk in the last month or 2 weeks. So Lori's and then families leaving, and we finally get records requests from a school. So Lori's always inundated. So this is the time of year we say, give her 2 weeks. During the other parts of the years, it's not as backed up, and so Lori can get it done pretty quickly. So, but that's the way you would do that. Okay, records are kept on Dropbox. We have everything safely kept for you in a safe place. We have things in files in the office, but just in case anything were to happen, we have all the files digitally backed up on Dropbox, so they're safe. We ask that you keep, when you join, you got a copy of that church school enrollment form, and we ask, make sure that you keep a copy of that somewhere where it's safe. When your child graduates, keep a copy of the transcript. Make a copy of the diploma and keep that. We recently had someone call and said, my parents' house burnt down and my diploma was in it. Do y'all have a copy of the diploma? And I'm like, no, we don't. We have a copy of your transcript, but we don't make a copy. We have, this past year, because of that, we started making copies of the diploma and putting that in their digital file when they graduate as well. Okay, testing, page 8 of the handbook. CRC does not require that your student be tested with any standardized testing. We do offer the opportunity in April, if you have a student who wants to do the general testing, the achievement testing in the spring each year. Let's see. Now the testing in general, we see here we have different kinds. So people get confused. There's SAT is the Stanford Achievement, okay? That's what we do, that is an achievement test in high school. But then there's the college entrance exams of SAT, okay? And there's ACT. So those are college entrance exams. And there's some information there. If you're interested in taking those, you would go directly to the site. But this is what is really important. If you have a student who is going to take a college entrance exam, please use our code. As you see in that second paragraph, Crossroads code 011846. What happens is if your student signs up to take the ACT or the SAT and they use our code, we have access to that, and it goes on the back of their transcripts. Okay? When you sign up, you get to tell them who you want to send it to, like for colleges. You get a certain number of colleges you get to send it to. But above that, if once that's over, and you decide there's another college, you have to pay to have it sent. Or if you go, I wanted Crossroads to happen, you have to pay them to send it to us. But if you use our code, we automatically have access. And they do not make it easy for you to be able to access and see. You can see the score, but they do not put the score and your student's name on the same page so that you could print something and give it to us that would be accurate or that would be legitimate for us to be able to use for anything. So we have to have copies of it. We also, in October of each year, we can get you access. If you have a student who's in 11th grade, there's the PSAT, and that's the qualifying test for the National Merit Scholarship. So if you have a student who is a really advanced student and does well on testing, then that might be something you want to see about connecting with, and I can tell you more about that. In April of each year, we had the ASVAB, which is the Armed Service Vocational Aptitude Battery, primarily for grades 11 and 12, or if a student has graduated recently. We provide this as an opportunity for career planning and preparedness, and I believe this is the best thing we have to offer our students for looking at career options. What happens is they take the test, and if you don't want anything, if you're not looking to go into the military, it has nothing to do with that. It is a test that shows your readiness to going into the military, but you can choose for them not to contact you with the information. Within a 2-week period, the educational specialist will come back out and sit down with our students in a computer and take their testing and show them where they tested and the careers that they tested as an option. And then they can look into those careers. And a lot of times we have families who will just, oh, well, that's nice, and they won't do anything with it. But if you'll use it, then you can look at all these different careers that your student tests, and they can dig deeper. Well, what does it take to get that career? Is it a certification? Is it a college? Where do I go to get that? And what is the pay scale for that? You can dig deeper and deeper and find out so much information. So I recommend that all of our 11th graders and 12th graders take that at some point. Okay. Let's see. All right, go to the next part. Now, the graduation requirements. So pages 8 through 13 in the handbook, these things are dealt with in depth in a seminar that we do called Homeschool Through High School. We just did one last week. It's offered twice a year in May and August, and it's also on our website under media. We have a Homeschool 101 seminar. It's about an hour and a half seminar. The How to Homeschool Through High School seminar, the college seminar, all of these are on our website under media. If you cannot come, or we just did it, so if you want to watch that, it's super helpful. We go in depth over each of these topics that I'm just barely touching on right now. We also will be holding Getting Your Homeschooled Student into College on September 12th at 1 o'clock. Tomorrow at the high school orientation meeting, I'll go over the difference between the diploma and the Alabama high school diploma. As a church school, we don't have to use the requirements for the Alabama state requirements, and we don't want to. However, we want our families to know about the Alabama state requirements in case their students are thinking of returning to the public school system, so that they'll know about those. Okay. Slide 18 there, curriculum. Pages 11 and 12. Well, back to the graduation requirements on that page 9 and 10. You can see for your high school students what is required, okay, and what is required for Crossroads to graduate. And again, I go in depth and detail in that seminar, but you have a couple different ways. One's in a chart and one is in a box, so you can see the different ways of what they have to have. Okay, curriculum, page 11 and 12. These are just high school course examples. We leave the choice of curriculum up to you, up to the parents. But just know again, virtual public school is not homeschooling. It requires you to be according to what they tell you to do in their timetable, so it's not the same thing. And we can't have both, so just make sure you know that. Curriculum, I go over that in the high school orientation or the high school seminar, as well as the Homeschool 101 seminar. I go into curriculum more in depth in that Homeschool 101 seminar, and again, it's on our media, on our website. Okay. The activities team, let me just tell, I mentioned those names as you see here. We've got Sally, Mary Beth, Courtney, Christy, and Caitlin. Those are our field trips. Tomorrow, you will be able to see some of them. I'll be talking about the activities, but you will meet some of them tomorrow. The Cheddar Up, the next one, Cheddar Up is our sign-up system for field trips, and this is really important to know, and our activities. And this is also the way that you can pay. You can choose e-check. That's our preferred way of signing up and paying. We do have, on that one, you have the ability to use your credit card. There's a fee that is applied to it, and that goes to you. And all the information of what those fees are on Cheddar Up before you ever sign up. And the cash or check, if you choose the cash or check option, it is super important, first of all, that you only order the things that you are ready to pay for right then. A lot of times somebody will go, ooh, I'm going to sign up for all these things, but I'm only going to pay for part of it. We can't do split payments in Cheddar Up. So you have to make sure that you're signing up for the things that you are ready to pay for. And if you choose check or cash, you need to get that check or cash to the office within 2 weeks of ordering it. And here's why. If let's say that the activity is not until Christmas and you make an order and you're like, well, those things aren't happening until December and November, so I'll just wait and I'll pay then. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to forget. And what'll happen is that spot is taken. And then this is another thing that we see sometimes is people go, oh, yeah, I signed up for that, but something came up. We're not going to be able to make it. But you've taken a slot of a student who could have gone. And by that point, we've already paid the venue and it's all messed up. So we ask that if you sign up, don't sign up for anything that you're not ready to pay for within 2 weeks, or use one of the other methods. And because we can't give refunds unless there's something that is on our end that there's a problem. Field trips and activities, page 13 and 14. I am going to go over these. For our Crossroads families, we do offer monthly activities. There's one activity for each age group, okay? And our age group breakdowns are pre-K through 2nd grade, and that's what Caitlin handles. And then we have elementary, 1st grade through 6th grade. And then we have 7th and 8th through our 7th through 12th, basically. Sometimes we have 7th and 8th. Sometimes we have, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So you're going to really watch, and I'll talk about this tomorrow, but I want to mention it to you guys tonight. Really watch for what the age is on the activity that you're signing up for. Whatever the age states, that is the age and grade of the student that can buy a ticket and participate. You cannot purchase a ticket for another one of your children that's not in that age range. Because again, you're taking a ticket from a student who is in that age range who can't go. Okay, so that's, and another thing with that is, like for example, they're going to the Berman Museum soon, up in Anniston. And it's a very hands-on, behind the scene kind of thing. And so it's a specific, the venue, the museum said, you can only have this age group. So they can't have any younger students. So it's the venue that's telling us that. So we just go by what you read there. Okay, we have a monthly online newsletter, and we go this week's news. So that's the way we communicate the information each week. So make sure you're reading that newsletter. And y'all, I know that the newsletter is super long. Okay, I know that. It takes a long time to read it. We try to simplify things, so when you first go on and you scroll down just a little bit, there's 5 categories. Things you need to know, that's the basic information that usually administratively that we're trying to communicate to you. There's activities, there's Candid Corner. Candid Corner is just an encouraging article that we have to encourage you as a homeschooler. And then we have fine arts, and then clubs and others. And those 5 words, you can click on them and it'll drop you to that section. So you don't have to sit there and scroll to get down to activities or scroll to get down to information about the choir. All right, so you can use that. And then on the right-hand side, there's an arrow. If you hit the arrow, it'll take you right back up to the top. So there are a few things built in that we've tried to make easier for you to do that. Let's see. All right, field trip guidelines. Number 1 on the bottom of 13, prayerfully consider the activities that are offered. When you register, please make notes of the date, time, and directions of the event. Read CRC correspondence to be aware of activities, being careful not to overextend yourself and your family, especially when you're new. You're all excited, you want to be involved, and you hadn't even gotten things off the ground yet. So, chill, sit back a little bit, maybe start in a little bit slower, or know what you can handle when you're getting into it. Age appropriate, just as I mentioned. Most teen activities are limited to 7th through 12th, elementary, 1st through 6th. That says everything I think I just said. So, and then 3, if you're unable to attend an activity for which you've registered, please contact the field trip coordinator. So, as I mentioned, Caitlin does the preschool. So if it's a preschool activity, you would contact Caitlin. If it is something that's school-wide, you would contact Courtney Wren. So you would not necessarily contact me for that information. I can always get your email to where it needs to go, but you would generally contact them. A few days prior to the event, you're going to get an email from the activities team to give you specifics about time, location, expectations. No, we do not do caravans to activities. You just meet there. But we do encourage you to coordinate with other families as you're going. And then please contact the field trip coordinator if you're going to be late to an event. So maybe have the coordinator's information in your phone. So if you get down and you're stuck in traffic and you're going to be late because your coordinator is at the event with a clipboard ready to check you in, and you're not going to be there, or let's say somebody got sick. She's standing there waiting to check you in and you're not even on the road. Just let her know. Send her a text, call her, let her know that. Okay. Behavior and appearance reflect on your family, Crossroads, and our Lord. Please represent well and in accordance with the guidelines noted in the handbook. And then 7, if you have any complaints, direct them to the field trip coordinator, not the place that you're at. Now, I can remember, I'm specifically thinking about a field trip that was just terrible, okay? I never really want to go back there. But we're not going to say that to the place. The coordinator can communicate and do an evaluation, but we're going to be gracious. And then we're not going to go back until things change, all right? But you be kind where you are. Parents are responsible for the supervision of their own children unless other arrangements have been made. Dropping off children in K through 6th grade is strictly prohibited. Parents are responsible for the supervision of their own children to ensure safety and avoid accidents. Teen trips are supervised. We use parental help all the time, and they like volunteers, so give them a call. If you have any questions, contact the team and let them know. All right, co-op. Co-op classes is on page 17. Registration for co-op is Friday, August 22nd. Okay, and all the information. There is a Facebook page. It's a private Facebook page, and the team has your name. So if you haven't signed in to CRCS Co-op on Facebook to ask to join, if co-op is something you're interested in, it may not be, but that's what you would do. You would ask to join, and then that's where they communicate a lot of their information. There's also the website. They have a website, which is in the newsletter. The sign up is coming up, and there's the details on the dates for everything. Okay, dress and grooming standards. So we're flipping back to 14 through 16 there. The next question is, why in the world does a homeschool group have a code for dress codes? Obviously, we don't expect your kids or you to follow this guide at home, okay? But we do ask that when your children or you are participating in school events, whether that be field trips, co-op, ballroom dance classes, other activities, we ask that you abide by the dress code that is in here. Not all families have the same standards, and there's no judgment with that. But what one family says is okay, another family may not. One of my best friends, when my kids were homeschooling, her name was Laura Morgan. She's still one of my best friends. And my kids would say, well, Miss Morgan lets this happen or this do this. And I look at my kids and go, do I look like Laura Morgan? We're with the Bartses. We do this way, and you're going to follow this. Well, we ask that everybody be on the same page and follow what's asked. And we're expecting that you have sat down with your students. If you haven't, you will, and read through these so that all of your kids, especially your teenagers, your preteens, okay, if they're choosing their clothes, then they need to understand what the code is. And unfortunately, we know that the culture makes it really difficult sometimes buying clothing. So we just want to all be on the same page. So we've put these guidelines together. They're found on pages 4 through 16. And read them. We expect you to enforce them before they leave your home and before they come to us. Because we will, and we don't like to. Okay, okay, just highlights of these. All right, we've got speech and behavior. As you can. I want you to read through all of those because we do follow those. And I can tell you something. If it's in this book, it's something we've had to deal with, and we take that seriously. We take it as a God-given opportunity for sanctification for us and for our kids here at the school and our families. So we want to make sure. Please note that the behavior is also addressed in the handbook. As a school board and a school staff, we approach discipline from a position of God's grace, being freely bestowed, in that all believers are forgiven sinners, in whom God's Holy Spirit is working. Our school policy is written to serve Christian families as they raise their children in the nurture and the admonition of the Lord. Even among believers, we know that conflicts occur. None of us are perfect. If something occurs and we must get involved with your family, it's intended to benefit the student and assist him or her in developing life skills and character as a result in an understanding of the consequences of wrong actions. It's intended to demonstrate God's redemptive love for all of us. And in God's perspective, He indeed causes all things to work together for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. If we need to speak to your student, we would say something privately and gently, and then we would contact you, okay? And we very rarely have to do this, but we love your kids, and we care about each one of them, and we care about the school. But we would work together with you. Okay, let's see. Just the highlight, let's look at some of these on dress and behavior on 16. Students and faculty are expected to dress neatly, modestly, and appropriately for the occasion. Each student is expected to submit to the judgment and school officials regarding interpretation of these dress and grooming standards. When a student or a parent chooses to dress inappropriately and is asked to change, we ask that your kid would do that. And generally what happens a lot of times is, shorts that are too short, dresses that are too short, and we have, you're in ballroom dance class and the dress is too short and they're spinning around. We got a problem, okay? Shorts are too short. So it's generally things like that we just say, let's all be on the same page. All clothing should be clean and in good repair. Okay, so I'm not gonna go thing by thing, but look at the shirts, look at the shorts. And our goal is not to micromanage things. We do not want to do that, but we do want everybody to be on the same page. There is a section in here that's been changed from last year, and you guys are new, so it wouldn't matter, but it's the formal specific information. And so that will be new in yours for this year. Like this is last year, so it would be a little different. So if you have a student who's going to participate in the formal, the dress code is a little bit different, so make sure that you follow that. Somewhere around January, people start looking to buy dresses. So make sure that you know what the dress code is for that and follow it accordingly. All right, next slide. We welcome you to Crossroads Christian School and trust that your family's enrollment with us will be beneficial to you. If we can help you in any way, contact our office. We're there on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 to 3. Look at the handbook if you have any questions about it. You can usually catch us around the office, maybe on Fridays. We'll be there. There's no guarantee that Friday is not an office open day, but we're generally there, but we may be busy doing other things, teaching a class. Karen's involved with some things, the fine arts. I teach a couple classes on Friday. So just we don't guarantee that you can get us because we're pretty busy. Make sure that you are receiving your email. Every Sunday night or Monday, I send out what's called This Week's News, okay? During the summer, it's been a little iffy, most weeks, but when school gets back, you can guarantee Sunday night or Monday, you're going to get an email from the group email. It comes from MailChimp, from me, and it's only going to Crossroads families, and it's going to be what is the most important things I want to communicate with you this week. There'll be a graphic which shows Monday through Friday or Saturday what's going on, and any very short, but any information maybe I've run across that I think you might want to know for that's not in the newsletter, but it may be new that I've received. I might want to communicate an opportunity to you. So make sure that you're using that. Again, I know that my Gmail account, what would happen when a group email came in, it would send it to my promotions. And if I didn't know to look for an email, I might miss it. So make sure that you're doing that. If you are one where it goes to your promotion, just get in the habit of going to our website on Monday, looking under This Week's News. There's a tab at the top, click on it, and you can see the email that went out. It'll be the exact same information. It'll be posted there. If you're not receiving those, you contact us. Maybe we put your email in wrong. Maybe it's not the email that you're checking, so just check with us. We do have a Crossroads Christian Facebook page that you can contact. We also have Crossroads Curriculum Buy and Sell Facebook page. Don't send us questions over Facebook. That's not the way we do business, because we don't check that very often. But we check our email in the offices quite often. So that's the best way to do any business with us. Let's see. Tomorrow we'll be at Bethel Baptist Church at 10 o'clock. There's a mandatory high school orientation at 11:30. If you have any student 9th through 12th grade, you need to make sure that the student and one parent be at that. But come early. The meeting starts at 10. Okay? But at 9, we're going to be open, and we're going to have lots of vendors in the hall. So there's things like all our fine arts teams, co-op will have a table, yearbook, builders club, key club, plays, choir, it'll all be represented. And even more than that, we have lots of people coming in with their information. Trail Life, Clay Breakers, we have some, All Pencils Down is coming. We have several people coming with information that you might want to talk to that might be helpful in your homeschool journey. So do that. If you are not going to be coming to that early, please come early enough to not bottleneck. Everybody comes at 10 o'clock, and we have to check you in at the table. So make sure you check in the administration table. When you come, you'll pick up an agenda, but you won't have to get your cards. Other people will be picking their cards up. So you'll just pick up an agenda, we'll check you off as being there, and that will be it. Okay, does anybody have any questions? Thank you guys for coming, and again, welcome to Crossroads Christian School.